Okay, good morning to one and all. We'll move to the next parts under the small volume parameters. In last lectures, we have discussed regarding the different aspects of the small volume parental, different types of small volume parental formulations, in which we have discussed in details about the solution formulation. In these lectures, we'll discuss about the remaining parts on the suspension and the emulsion formulations. So first thing we discuss that is regarding the suspensions. So the parenteral suspensions, these are the dispersed, multi-phase, heterogeneous systems of insoluble solid particles which are intended basically for the intramuscular and the subcutaneous injections. So the suspension, the basic definitions of the suspension, as we know, there are some solid particles. They are suspended in a specific solvents with the help of third agent, which is called the suspending agents. So here, the solid contains of the parental formulations, the parental suspensions that may be ranges between the 0.5 and up to the 5%, but which can be goes or which can be go as high as 30% in some antibiotic preparations. So that the amount of solids and the nature of the vehicles that is used that can be determines the viscosity of the products, and which will be the important factors for the syringe ability. Syringe ability means what? The facility with which the product is passed in and out of the syringe. So that the property of thixotropy it's sometimes utilized. So particularly mostly with the oleaginous suspensions. So to provide the sedimentation stability of the preparations during the storage and the syringe ability of the fluid at the time of the administration, that has to be considered the very important factors in the suspension formulations. Another one important requirement for the parenteral suspension is the small and uniform particle size. There are various techniques are there that can be utilized for the reductions of the particles, like a dry or the wet ball milling will be there, micropulverization will be there, fluid energy particle reductions will be there, or ultrasonic process will be there. So small uniform particles are required to give the slow uniform rate of the sedimentations and predictable rate of the dissolutions at the drug release. Also, uniform particle size that will reduce the tendency for the larger crystal growth during the storage. So there may be chances that relatively small crystals that tend to disappear and large crystals grow in mixtures. So because of taking of the suspensions and difficult syringe ability because of the large particles and changes in the resolution and the drug release that can be occurs because of these particular problems. So because of this delicate balance of variables is required in order to formulate a suitable product, a suspension is one of the most difficult parenteral forms to be prepared. So these all the factors that you have to control, like a particle size, you have to maintain its syringe ability, you have to maintain its thixotropy so that it can be easily flow in that syringe, in and out of the syringe. Along with that, there should not be cake formations during the shipping and during the storage, and should be easily resuspended and inject through the 18 to 20 gauge needle throughout its shelf life. So these are the very difficult to achieve. These are the different things that you have to consider while formulating the parenteral suspension formulations. So that's why this particular suspension is very difficult as compared to the solution. Solution that we directly solid molecules can dissolve in a solvents. So as compared to the solutions and as compared to the emulsions also, this particular stabilization of the parenteral suspension is very difficult. So the stabilization of suspensions for the period between the manufacturing and till the use of that particular product, there are various problems are there. Settling problems will be there, cake formations will be there, redispersion problem will be there. So there are various to achieve this goal. So we have it is necessary to control the crystallizations. We have to it is necessary to control the particle size of that particular formulations and the sterilization of the drug substances. These suspensions this gives the prolonged drug release. So we require the particle size of the drug should be small and in a uniform form. So suspension we can call as it is suspension for injections which consists of insoluble solid particles which are dispersed in a liquid medium with the solid particles accounting from 0.5 to 30% of the suspensions. At the initial or at the introductory phase, as I have mentioned that a solid content of the parenteral solutions, sorry, parenteral suspensions that will be reduced from 0.5 to 5%, but in most of the antibiotic preparations, it will be the as high as 30%. So these are the some problems they have given. Taking of the injectable suspension that can be minimized through the productions of the flocculated systems. We have discussed the flocculations and flocculated and deflocculated systems in a suspension, so I will not go in detail about those systems. So the comprising the clusters of the particles, flocks, flocculated systems, flock formations, and they are held together in a loose open structure, so that can be easily redispersed. So this is one of the we can say the process that we can achieve to avoid the cake formations, suspension formulations. There are some excipients in injectable suspensions, same that we are using for the parenteral formulations like antimicrobial agents are there. Here, surfactants and suspending agents that plays a very important role. So as we know, for the formulation of suspensions, we require some suspending agents. They form the boundary layer with around the particle size, and they will remain suspended in the solutions. So here also suspending agents or some colloids, protective colloids that can be used. So here surface active agent is also there. Surfactant is also there here. Surfactant also plays very important. So whatever the cake formulations will be there, so surface active agents they are added in the preparations and they stabilize the suspension by reducing the interfacial tensions between the particles and the vehicles. So mostly polysorbate 18, lecithin or puronic F68 that are most commonly used surface active agents in a parenteral suspension formulations. So the main functions of using the surface active agent is to reduce reducing the interfacial tensions between the particles as in a suspension form. There are some hydrocolloids like carboxymethyl cellulose are also there, or some acacia or the gelatin. Methyl cellulose are the protective colloids that can be used as a suspending agents in uh, in suspension formulations. So occasionally parenteral suspensions that may be improved by a slight increase in a viscosity. So either by increasing the amount of protective colloids or by adding the compounds like a sorbitol. So that can be improve the viscosity of your suspensions. So in other formulations, it has found that the flocculations of the suspended particles has been necessary uh, uh, to prevent the packing to the dense cake. So here we can add some surface charges or the solid particles, they may causes them to form the fluffy aggregates. So these settle rapidly, but too large sedimentation volume which can easily be redispersed. So mostly monosodium citrate, that is most commonly used for this purpose. So here in the suspensions, a surfactants or surface active agents that weight the suspended powders and provide the acceptable syringeability, while suspending agents modify the viscosity of the formulation. So importantly, as we have already discussed, the important factors of suspension formulation is first thing, that is syringe ability, and second one, the thixotropy of that particular suspension formulations. So the ease of injections and the availability of the drug in depot therapy are affected by the viscosity of the suspensions and the particle size of the suspended drug. So that's why the factors that we have already discussed, in which the viscosity, the syringe ability, and the particle size and the viscosity, these are the important factors that we have to consider while formulating the suspension. These systems get affords enhanced ability to active ingredients that are prone to the hydrolysis in aqueous solutions. So basically, suspension formulations are prepared when those are the substances that are affected or that are hydrolyzed by the water or the aqueous solutions. So to avoid those solutions or those particular API or therapeutic agents that are converted into suspension form. So compared with that injectable solutions, the rate of drug absorptions of injectable suspension is prolonged. So here, these particular uh, uh, this particular suspension dosage form, they provide the long action or the long acting formulations are there. So it will depend upon the dissolution control, or they can produce the effect by binding the drug molecules to the adsorbents. So there are various ways are there by which these particular suspensions are acted. So the rate of the drug absorption as compared to the solution form is prolonged because the additional time is required for the disintegration and dissolution of the suspended drug particles are there. So depending upon the dissolution control or depending upon the controlling the particle size, that can also contribute to the slow dissolutions in larger as compared to the larger particle, because as well as the crystal formations, because the crystal dissolves more slowly than the small crystals with the proper with proportionally more surface area. There is another one way is by the encapsulation time, but that will be discussed later on. So the slower release of the drug from an oily suspensions, which will compare with that of the aqueous suspensions, which is attributed to the additional time taken by the drug particles. Additional time taken by the drug particles is suspended in a oil to reach the oil water boundary and become the wetted before dissolving in a tissue fluid. So that we'll discuss in a emulsion form regarding how these oil particles get dispersed or get dissolved in formulations. Then, as already I have discussed, to achieve this goal, it is necessary to control the crystallizations, particle size reductions, and sterilizations of the drug substances. So there are three factors: thixotropy, thixotropy, then syringe ability, and the particle size. These three factors play very important role in the suspension formulations or in the dissolution process of the suspension formulations. So to achieve this goal, we have to control the crystallizations. As already I have discussed, the small crystals are easily dissolved as compared to the other forms. Then particle size, we know how the particle size will affect on resolutions, how the surface area will affect the resolution rate. Then the solution of the drug substances. So that suspensions gives the prolonged drug release. So particle size of the drug should be small and uniform. So which contains some wetting agents, suspending agents, buffering agents are there, some preservative, antioxidant and the tonicity agents are there that is incorporated in a suspension formulation. So we know the role of each and every ingredient. So most commonly used sus- additives in the suspension formulations. These are the suspending agents. So mostly hydrocolloids are there, or some protective colloids are there. Some surfactants are there, means wetting agents. These are plays very important role. Some surfactant like lecithin, polysorbate that can be used by that can be used or they can reduce the interfacial tension between the particle size and these particular colloids that can be increased or the suspending agent that can increase the viscosity by increasing the protective colloid contents. So that's why there some suspending agents like acacia will be there, methyl cellulose will be there, sodium CMC is there, so that can be incorporated in suspension formulations. So here they are given suspending agents like gelatin, surfactants like lecithin, solubilizing agents, polyethylene propylene glycol, pH adjustments are there, citric acid and sodium citrates are there. There are two basic methods that are used to prepare the parenteral suspensions. One is sterile vehicle and powders that are combined aseptically, and second one a sterile solution that is combined and a crystal formed in situ. That means freeze dried formulations are used. So that are the solutions that are intended to be freeze dried that must be aqueous for the drying process that is involved in the removal of the water by the sublimation process. This is by forming the in situ powder materials and directly by sterile vehicles and powders are combined aseptically. So these are two methods are there. These problems are also we have discussed like the settling problems or the kicking problems, polymeric transformations will be there, and the crystal growth. These are the problems will occur during suspension formulations. So that can be avoided with the help of the modifications such settling and caking that can be avoided by formations of the floccules. Then polymorphic transformations will be there that can be avoided. So that can be avoided with the help of the utilizing the proper solvent system or some stabilizers we can use so there should not be any alterations. We can use some chelating agents. So if any heavy metals are present in the formulation that can be from the complex with that chelating agents and that will avoid the stability of formulation. Then crystal growth will be there that can be uh, that will lead to the caking of the suspensions and which will lead to the syringeability problems. So that thing way also we can avoid it. So by reducing the particle size, there are various techniques that can be used to reduce the particle size. So small uniform particle size are required to give the slow and uniform rate of the sedimentations at a predictable rate of the resolution to the drug release. So that can be achieved by reducing the particle size also. So these problems are encountered and this can be overcome during the process itself. Now we'll move to the another one important small volume parental that is the emulsions. So the emulsions, which is a heterogeneous mixtures or dispersions of one immiscible liquids in another. That is the simple definition of the simple definitions of emulsions. But here, in a parental emulsions, they are rare because there is the principal problems in formulating the parental emulsions is the maintenance of the uniform oil droplet size as the internal use. As we know, the emulsions, which is the inherently unstable systems, and is made possible through the use of the emulsifying agents. so which prevents the coalescence of the dispersed droplets. But as the same thing, it is necessary to achieve the stable droplet less than 5 micron to the 1 micron. Sorry, 1 micron to the 5 micrometers in prevent the emboli in blood vessels, and it is not usually necessary to do the emulsions for the drug administrations. So basically with the emulsions, separations of the phase does not occur as readily as with the suspension because the difference in density between the oil and water is relatively very small. So the formulations options are severely restricted to the very limited selections of the stabilizers and the emulsifier due to the local constraints of the autoclave sterilizations and the parental injections. So the principal problems in emulsions formulations is the attainment and the maintenance of the uniform oil droplet size as the internal phase. So parental emulsions are used for several purposes. So water in oil emulsions for the allergic extracts, oil in water sustained release liquid injections are there, and oil in water nutrient emulsions are there. So intravenous nutrient emulsions that are made by containing, for example, 15% cottonseed oil, 4% dextrose, 1.2% lecithin. So basically lecithin and oxyethylene propylene polymers that can be act as the emulsifier. The dispersed phase should have the droplet size which is less than 1 micron, and the emulsion must be stable by the autoclaving. Because the elevated temperatures they tend to produce the coalescence of the dispersed phase, and excessive shaking that can causes the acceleration of the rate of the cleaving. So mostly small amount of gelatin, dextran or some methyl silver that can be added as a stabilizing agents means to stabilize the emulsions, but they are also adversely affected by the elevated temperature. So that's why here they are already mentions there is a dual constraint. First is autoclave sterilizations and second one is the parenteral injections formulations. So these are the problems that we encountered in immersion formations. First is screaming and cracking. So that already we have discussed what is screaming, what is cracking, and how to overcome those problems to maintain the stability. That problems has to be overcome. Then rancidity in oil phase will occur because most of the times we are using the oil which are the fatty saturated substances. So they are more prone to the rancidity, and that's why in during the storage and during the elevated temperatures also this particular uh, oil phase in a emulsion parental emulsion that can be disturbed, then partitioning of the preservative between the oil and the water phase. So basically uh, preservative that we are using that must be soluble in both the phases, like in a oil phase as well as in a water phase also. So the immersion stability that has to be achieved for the formulating the immersion parental immersion preparations. So there may be some, as already we have mentioned, screaming will be occur, cracking will be occur, or coalescence will be occur. So that has to be overcome before the or during the in the manufacturing and during the formulations also, or during the storage also it should be properly stored. So intravenous fat emulsions here they are given. So I have gained the acceptance for the use as a source of the calories and essential fatty acids for the patient required parenteral nutrition for the extended period between usually more than 5 days. The product which contains up to 30% of soybean oil which will emulsify with the help of the egg yolk phospholipids in vehicle of the glycerin in water for injections. The immersion is administered via the peripheral vein or by the central venous infusions. These are the route where they are given. The last one, that is the dry powder or the freeze dried powder, that we already discussed about the freeze dried products. So the solutions or the dry powders for the parenteral administration is reconstituted as the solutions or as the suspensions before use of that particular injections. So the principal advantage of this dosage form is that it overcomes the problem of instability in the solutions. So basically, those solutions or those are the products which are converted into the dry powders, they must be aqueous. So the drying process, which will remove the excess amount of water by sublimation process. The formulations, they must reflect some characteristics that will be imparted to the solid residues after the drying, and those required for solutions after the reconstitution at the time of use. So mostly the drugs alone does not give a sufficient solid residue or the characteristics which is appropriate for the products. So therefore substance that are mostly added to provide the characteristics desired that must be considered properly. So among these characteristics of the good cake, that must be uniform colored and textures, supporting mixture of the solid sufficient to maintain the essential, the original volume after drying, sufficient strain to prevent the crumbling during the storage. In addition, the nature and the amount of solids in the solutions, which largely determine on the basis of the three processes as already I have discussed: the effective temperature of the frozen solutions, the sub-zero temperature at which the frozen materials will melt, which determines the temperatures below which the product must be held during the freeze drying. Second one, the rate of thermal and the vapor transfer through the product during the process of the drying. And third one, the rate of solutions of the product during the reconstitutions. So as already we have discussed, monochlorobasic and dibasic sodium phosphate salts that provide the uniform crystal size, uniform color and the textures, also provide the rapid reconstitutions. Then when organic substances like mannitol, sorbitol, sucrose that are used to provide the solids for the cakes, but the care must be taken during the heating, particularly during the terminal sterilizations, the terminal stage of the drying, to avoid the discolorations of the cake by the particular heat. So added substances required in the formulations that must not be volatile under the conditions of the drying. So therefore, antibacterial agents like a phenol or the chlorobutanol or the benzyl alcohol should not be used in a dried powder formulations. So here, these are the formulations of the sterile dosage form. API will be there. We have already discussed vehicles, either water miscible vehicle, non-aqueous vehicle will be there, and some excipients are there. Antimicrobial agents and the preservatives are there. Solubilizers, wetting agents or the emulsifiers are there. Buffers are there. Bulking agents and the tonicity modifiers are there. Suspending agents for the suspension, chelating agents are there, local anesthetic, stabilizers and antioxidants has to be incorporated in formulating the sterile dosage form. This is all regarding the small volume parenterals. So simply small volume parenterals, these are the volumes, these are the parenterals preparations whose having the volume ranges from the 1 to 30 ml, but as per the USP till the 100 ml containers we call as a small volume parenterals. In next lectures, we'll discuss about the large volume parenterals in detail. Okay, thank you. We'll stop here.